Hey guys, Stephen here, aka Mr. DJ, with another video for the DIY Musician's Guide. In this one, we're going to talk about the social analytical tool, Social Blade, and come at it from some upsides and downsides from an online musician. If you've been around the internet a fair bit, and who hasn't, you've probably bumped into Social Blade. So what is Social Blade? It's a social media monitoring tool, basically a place where you can measure how well or not well you're doing across social media platforms. For instance, for YouTube, you can get estimated dates for when you'll hit big subscriber or view milestones. Now this becomes a bit more interesting when you look up other people in your niche, i.e. music, and see how they're getting on. Now you could use this information and make decisions such as reaching out for a collaboration or using this data and see what's working for them and seeing how it could work for you. There's a ton of data on there, but do bear in mind it's all estimated projections. They don't actually know the future. Miss you, Paul. Now I mentioned in the intro there are upsides and downsides to using Social Blade, and I've briefly mentioned the upsides, but I will stress this: if you are going to use Social Blade, I would use it sparingly. As with any analytical tool, I think it's really great to get into the numbers, but I do hear from a lot of people that you can get obsessed with Social Blade and it can lead to a bit of depression, especially if your numbers are in a lull and you're comparing yourself to somebody else. And I think that's the big key word to take out here: comparison. There's an awesome saying that you should write on a post-it note now and put it above your desk, and that's comparison is the thief of joy. There's always going to be someone better than you, and there's going to be someone better than them, unless you're Radiohead and they're Radiohead. If you're going to set goals, I think it's best to try and beat yourself, like in Fight Club. No, not like in Fight Club, but you know what I mean. It's, you don't want to end up with unhealthy competition against somebody else. Try and, there's a cliche, but try and be better than you were yesterday. And be matey, not hatey. Actually, that's really good. I'm going to use that again. Anyway, with all that said, let's have a quick tour. Okay, so if we just head over to socialblade.com, and if you look over on the right hand side, there's a search bar with a drop down menu for each social platform. For this example, let's select YouTube and we'll search for my band, Why to Follow. Now, we won't have any decent projected stats at all for my band, Why to Follow, boo-hoo and all that, I know. But to be honest, that kind of thing excites me, weirdly enough. I really like starting from the bottom. Okay, this is the dashboard area for this selected profile. We can see the number of uploads, subscribers, video views, as well as its location, what type of channel it is, and when it was created. This becomes immediately more interesting and powerful when you open up another similar YouTube channel to compare it to. So let's do that now, and we'll pick a band that's also quite independent, but obviously a bit more ahead. I'll go for Hammock, even though they're pretty big. I just can't think of anyone else right now, and it's just an example for this video. Bit of a side note here, but I wouldn't pick a channel to compare with if they're a legacy artist. Now, what I mean by a legacy artist, these are artists who were big outside of these platforms, like the Beatles or Fleetwood Mac. I'd only pick someone like that if you're looking for a comparison channel for tips on how to stay relevant on these platforms. Just flipping between these tabs gives us some fun data to look at or cry about. It's all good, I suppose, but remember, don't get wrapped up in the numbers. Just use them as a guide. They're them and I'm me. Do you, etc. Okay, moving on. Underneath that info bar, we have a lot of interesting menu items here, but let's just start with the user summary page since we're, already on it. The top section here gives your channel a grade, and you can hover over the tooltip here, which will tell you that the total grade is a visual representation of the Social Blade rank, or SB rank, based on the ranking against our whole database. This basically just gives you an idea of how well your channel is doing at a quick glance. If we flip over to our comparison account, you can see that they have a B-, where we have a C-, which makes sense when you look at their stats compared to mine. My band's channel is down on subscribers and views, whereas Hammock's is way up. Maybe I should have chosen a closer match. In future, it'd probably be more helpful for me to find a channel that's at a C or a C+ grade, as that's a bit closer in terms of numbers and I'd probably get way more out of it. Anyway, if we scroll down on this page, you'll see an estimated drill down of subscribers, views and earnings over the last 2 weeks. I say estimated as YouTube recently abbreviated subscriber counts, so it's harder for sites like this to accurately get that info. A quick comparison looking at Hammock's page, and you'll see an estimated 100 subscribers on most days, which is pretty good. You'll see a monthly history of all this in a graph if you scroll even further down too. Anyway, moving on to future projections. So for me, I guess this is the fun part, as it projects the future state of the channel as is. So as you can see, for Why to Follow, the numbers go up, which is nice. You can drill this down to just subscribers or view milestones, and you can scroll down to see this all in graph form too. It's probably the one page I look at the most on Social Blade, as you can get a good idea of how things are going. So for me, looking at this, I'm thinking, yep, the numbers are definitely going up, but really slowly. Let's just compare, like 40 odd subscribers in 2 months compared to 2,000 subscribers for Hammock. Wowzers. Anyway, let's move on to the next page of detailed statistics. Pretty simple one this, but it just basically gives you a monthly overview of subscribers, views and estimated earnings. There's a couple of graphs at the bottom there too. Okay, moving on to the featured box page. This basically just lists the channels that are featured, you know, the ones that usually appear on the right hand side of a channel page. You can go into a bit of a rabbit hole here if you wish, but you know, you get the idea of what it's doing. Okay, moving on to the similar channels page. This page lists a good bunch of channels that might be worth looking through, especially if they're in your niche. This is how I should have started and shouldn't have picked Hammock. I should have picked like one of these other ones, but it doesn't look like there's a music one just ahead of me. Okay, the user videos page is basically what it says. It lists all of the channel's videos and gives them a rating based on the likes and dislikes. I find these details really interesting, as you can get a good picture of how often the channel releases videos if you look at the date column on the left, as well as which type of video is more engaging for them. Stuff like that. There's also a menu there to show most viewed and highest rated. It's a fun one to play around with. Okay, moving on to the live subscriber count. Now this used to give you an accurate count, but YouTube fiddled with their API. It can only do that for channels under 1,000, like my one. After that, you get an abbreviated count, like Hammock's one. They're big. Okay, lastly, we've got the achievements page, which, you know what, I think this is fun. I find it a really fun way to get started, as it gamifies the whole experience. I like this, as sometimes you just need a little incentive just to get going, and I just like seeing numbers go up. I've got a problem. Anyway, that concludes the tour. So that's Social Blade, and as you can see, it's a really powerful tool. And I've only shown off YouTube, but there are other social media accounts and platforms you can really dig your heels into and see how you're faring against other people in your niche. And there, I suppose, could lie a problem. The more you try and gamify the numbers of your social account and do all that kind of thing, the more you become less organic and less you. So I'll repeat what I said before, use it sparingly. I can see that people can get wrapped up in the numbers and feel a little bit down from time to time with it. I certainly have in the past, and I probably will do again. It's all about the bloody numbers. I blame destiny. Anyway, I'll leave that there then. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. And please consider joining my Patreon, which will be linked up there or down below. Anyway, I'll see you next time in another video.